This is question number 6 of homework 9. Using the supply and the demand analysis of the market for reserves, determine what happens to the federal funds rate, borrowed reserves, and non-borrowed reserves, holding everything else constant, if the Fed reduces reserve requirements. So here, different students may have different versions on this requirement. Sometimes you may have the Fed raises the target federal funds rate, or sometimes you may see that the Fed increases the interest rate paid on the excess reserves, or something like that. So here is just the reduces reserve requirements. So if the Fed does that, banks no longer need so much reserves. Hence, the demand for reserves will decrease. So based on the demand and supply analysis for the reserves, its equilibrium for the demand and the supply determines the federal funds rate. And now if the demand goes down, right, it reduces the requirement, so the demand should go down. When the demand goes down, the price, which is the equilibrium federal funds rate, should also go down. So we should look for the answers which shows the federal funds rate will decrease. So seems that the only one here is B, right? All others either no change or increase or decrease, either no change or increase. So the only answer here is B, the federal funds rate will decrease, but non-borrowed reserves and borrowed reserves will not change. So this question actually, to answer this part, you need to draw the graph, but if you click on this, you will see that the second part of this question just shows you the graphs, which asks you to choose which graph matches that answer. But before you can choose this B, actually you should already have maybe put this graph in a piece of paper, and hence you can figure out why federal funds rate has to decrease. So now let's see what happens. We said the demand for the reserves should decrease. So we know that the demand curve is like this, right? First sloping downward, and then there's horizontal portion, and this horizontal portion refers to the interest rate paid to the excess reserves. And then the supply curve is this shaped. First, it has the vertical portion, which is the non-borrowed reserves, and that's through the open market operations by the Fed. And then this horizontal portion, that's the borrowed reserves, and that's through the discount window, when the banks borrow from the Fed through the discount window by paying the discount rate. So that's basically the demand and the supply. And if the demand, this is demand, right? Demand goes down, so the demand curve should shift to the left. So we look for which graph shows that the demand curve shifts to the left. So A here, you can see the A here actually shifts to the right, and the B here, it's not the demand curve that changes, actually it's the supply which shifts to the left. So both A and B are not what we are looking for. C is actually referring to the situation when the Fed increases the interest rate paid to the excess reserves, because the lower portion of this demand curve is uplifted. But we know that the lower portion, which is the horizontal portion of the demand curve, that refers to the interest rate paid to the excess reserves. So C is also not what we are looking for. D is, you can see that D here actually refers to the demand curve shifts to the left. So that's what we are looking for. So if we go on, we can see that E here, even though E, the demand curve, does shift leftward, but the supply curve also shifts leftward. But if the Fed reduce the reserve requirements, that shouldn't have any effect on the supply curve. So the only answer should be D. And based on this chart, you can also see that when the demand curve shifts to the left, so this IFF1, that's the initial equilibrium federal funds rate. So when the demand shifts to the left, the new equilibrium federal funds rate is IFF2. And you can see that IFF2 indeed is lower than IFF1. And what else can we see? We can see that both IFF2 and IFF1, they are on the same vertical portion of the supply curve. And we know that vertical portion refers to the long borrowed reserves through the open market purchases. So that means the non-borrowed reserves does not change. And what about borrowed reserves? So if the supply is on the vertical portion of the non-borrowed reserves, the supply curve, that's the non-borrowed reserves. That means banks do not have to borrow from the Fed. They just borrow from each other. So this discount window is not used. Hence, the borrowed reserves also is 0. So it doesn't change. Hence, you can see that why we choose B. The federal funds rate will decrease, but non-borrowed reserves and the borrowed reserves will not change. So now we can comfortably choose D. We just choose D here. Check answer. Good job. So now if I show a similar question, you can see why I said earlier that this part will change. Similar questions. This is also one of the reasons probably you need to practice the same question multiple times because the setup might change depending on which version of the question is. And that's the situation here. So if I click on similar questions, you can see banks, now the setup changes to be banks expect an unusually large increase in withdrawals from checking deposit accounts in the future. I will skip this part because part of the knowledge actually is covered in chapter 9. So, and if I reload it, you can see that this setup changes again. Now it's the Fed increases the target federal funds rate. I will also skip this part because I found that my Econ Lab only accepts one version of the answer, even though actually 2 versions are both correct. So I skip this part too, and let me continue to click on reload. You can see that now this time actually it stays the same because this setup will change randomly. Again, this is I skip this part, and this goes back to our original version, reduces reserve requirements. And this part is the new one. The Fed raises the interest rate on reserves above the current equilibrium federal funds rate. So we said that the interest rate paid on reserves is the lower portion of the demand curve. So if the Fed raises that part and raises that part above the current equilibrium federal funds rate, we immediately know that the federal funds rate has to increase. An increase to what? Increase to exactly equal to the interest rate paid to the reserves. So we look for the answer which can match that description. The federal funds rate will increase, and because it still stays on the same vertical portion of the supply curve, as we will see later when we click on the answer here first. But as again, if you want to find out the answer, actually you have to draw the chart first. But I know that it's gonna show up later on. You can also find out because you have unlimited chances to practice this question. So I know that the federal funds rate will increase because of the reason I just said. The interest rate on reserves, that's the lower portion of the demand curve, that will increase above the current equilibrium federal funds rate. So the new federal funds rate has to increase, but because it still stays on the same vertical portion of the supply curve, so non-borrow reserves and borrow reserves will not change. So we choose D actually, but non-borrow reserves and borrow reserves will not change. Check our answer. Excellent. So now let me tell you why I choose that. As I said, we look for the graph which shows that the lower portion, the horizontal portion of the demand curve will be lifted. Obviously, A and B are not what we're looking for. And C is, and D and E is also not. So C, if we lift the lower portion of the demand curve, we can see that originally, this is the original demand curve, and this is the original supply curve. So their intersection is this IFF1. That's the original equilibrium federal funds rate. So now if the Fed increases the lower portion of this demand curve, the new demand curve for the reserves will become this one. The downward sloping part will be the same, but now the lower portion or the horizontal portion of the demand curve will be higher than the older one. So will become this one. And the new intersection will be the intersection of this new demand curve and this original supply curve. So you can see that this is the new federal funds rate, IFF2. So you can compare IFF2 with IFF1. You can see that it increases, but because it stays on the same vertical portion of the supply curve, and we know that the same vertical portion means non-borrowed reserves, right? Non-borrowed reserves will stay the same, and borrowed reserves will be zero regardless, right? Because this portion means that the banks don't, and because the federal funds rate actually is lower than the discount rate that they can borrow from the Fed, so no bank will bother to borrow from the Fed. They can just borrow from each other and get a lower interest rate. So the fact that either the original equilibrium rate and the new equilibrium federal funds rate, they stay on the same vertical portion of the supply curve, that fact means the borrowed reserves are zero for both cases. So that's why we choose this. The federal funds rate will increase, but the non-borrowed reserves and the borrowed reserves will not change. So now we see that we should choose C for the second part. Okay, so let me continue to work on this and see whether we have more versions of the same question. Similar. Again, I found there are some issues with this version. Reload. Again, this goes back to the second version we just discussed. And same. Okay, so I guess we have sort of exhausted the version in my econ lab. For this question. Yeah, so I just stop here.